Hey everyone, it's Aubrey from Piece by Piece Living, and today I have another Instant Pot recipe for you. It's gonna be my mom's Mulligan stew recipe. However, I just converted it to be Instant Pot friendly. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is definitely one of my favorite meals that my mom makes. It's just very comforting, it's a hearty soup, and I love it, so enjoy. So the first thing I'm going to do is prep my vegetables. I'm starting with my zucchini. For this recipe, I'm just using 2 zucchinis, but if you have a really large zucchini, I would just use 1. And the key to making this soup with zucchini is to cut the zucchini in really large chunks. The first time I tried this recipe in my Instant Pot, I cut the zucchini kind of more like diced, and they just completely obliterated in the Instant Pot. So I learned my lesson, and now I cut them in really large chunks, and this just helps them hold their form a little bit better in the Instant Pot. Now I'm moving on to the mushrooms. You really can use whatever mushrooms you want to use or you have on hand. I just went ahead and removed the dirt. I actually wash my mushrooms, which I know people say you shouldn't do that, but I just can't stand the thought of like biting into a grain of sand. So I always wash my mushrooms, and I think they're just fine. I would say the bigger the slices, the better, because you are going to be putting them in the Instant Pot. And for this recipe, I'm using 8 ounces of mushrooms. Normally when you go to the grocery store and they have those containers of mushrooms, the normal size containers, those are about 8 ounces. And now I'm going to cut my onion. I'm not a huge fan of onions. I do not enjoy biting into a piece of onion, but I do like the flavor. I do like the aroma. So for this recipe, I'm cutting my onions in larger chunks, but if you wanted to, you could cut them into like smaller diced pieces, but it really is up to you. Once all your vegetables are prepped, go ahead and plug in your Instant Pot and set it to the saute function, and then pour a little bit of avocado in the bottom, about 2 tablespoons. And then the first thing you're going to do is pour your macaroni shells. I'm using half the bag, which I think is about 8 ounces of the shells. You don't need that many shells. And then you just want to continuously stir the shells until they become nice and browned. This is typically the method that my mom will use for making Spanish rice as well. And when you're done, they'll be nice and crispy. Okay, so moving on to the meat, I'm just using some boneless stew meat. It's beef. And I'm just gonna place that inside the Instant Pot with the leftover avocado oil from the macaroni shells. And from this point, you just want to brown your beef for about 3 to 5 minutes. Once the meat has browned, I'm going to take it out of the Instant Pot and set it aside. And then I'm going to saute my onions as well as my mushrooms for another 3 to 5 minutes. Once everything is sauteed, go ahead and add your garlic and saute that for about 30 seconds, and then take your Instant Pot off of saute mode and add your beef to the Instant Pot. Next, you're going to add a little bit of garlic salt as well as some diced roasted green chilies. These aren't spicy, they're more just for flavor, and you can pretty much find them at most grocery stores. And then I'm going to be adding my zucchini that I cut into large chunks. You're also going to add a can of diced fire roasted tomatoes. This just adds an extra depth of flavor to the stew. And then here's the garlic that I originally forgot to put in. And you're also going to need some tomato sauce. I'm using about half a can or about 1 cup. And this is going to be the most important step. You want to put your macaroni shells on top of everything, but you want to make sure you do not mix the shells, okay? Just leave them on top, and then you're just going to pour the broth on top of everything. So I'm going to be using boxed chicken broth, but you can also use homemade if you do have that on hand. And then just set your Instant Pot to manual pressure for 6 minutes. And when it's done, you're going to want to do a quick release, because if you let it release naturally, the noodles will become too soggy. And that's it. That is my Instant Pot Mulligan stew recipe. I've adapted this from my mom's original recipe, and I hope you guys try this and enjoy it.